Listen to me. The most dangerous lie you will ever believe is not what they said about you. It's what you accepted about yourself. You didn't come here to be average. You didn't come here to shrink. You didn't come here to play small so other people could feel comfortable. You came here with fire in your chest, and somewhere along the way you forgot. Tonight we change that. Listen closely, because this is where everything begins. Every single day of your life, whether you realize it or not, you are rehearsing a version of yourself. You wake up and you repeat the same thoughts, the same doubts, the same explanations about why your life looks the way it does. You tell yourself who you are before the world ever gets a chance to respond. And the tragedy is this: most people rehearse limitations so often that it starts to feel like truth. This is just how I am. I've always been this way. People like me don't get that far. Those sentences are not facts, they are scripts, and you've been performing them so long that you forgot you were the one who memorized the lines. What you must understand is that identity is not discovered, it is practiced. You did not wake up one day confident or insecure, powerful or passive. You practiced it. You practiced shrinking when it was time to speak. You practiced silence when you should have stood tall. You practiced doubt until doubt became familiar, and familiar started to feel safe. The mind does not care whether what you practice is true or false. It only cares about repetition. And whatever you repeat, it strengthens. Whatever you strengthen, it becomes automatic. This is why you can sabotage yourself without even thinking about it. Not because you are broken, but because you are trained. Look at your life honestly. The way you walk into rooms, the way you introduce yourself, the way you handle pressure, rejection, opportunity. None of that is random. It's the result of rehearsal. You've been practicing a version of yourself that stays quiet, plays small, waits for permission, avoids risk, and explains away potential. And the most painful part is not that you've been doing it. The most painful part is that you've been loyal to it. You've defended that version of yourself. You've protected it with excuses. You've told people that's just not me, when the truth is, you never gave yourself permission to become more. But hear this clearly, the version of you that exists today is not the limit of who you can become. It is simply the result of what you've practiced up to this point. And practice can be changed. The same way fear was learned, courage can be trained. The same way doubt became automatic, confidence can be conditioned. The same way you learn to expect less, you can train yourself to demand more. This is not motivation. This is discipline of identity. You don't wait for inspiration to become someone new. You start rehearsing the person you want to be until that version becomes familiar, and familiar becomes natural. This is where most people get it wrong. They say, once I feel confident, I'll act confident. That day never comes. Because confidence is not a feeling. It is a byproduct of repeated action. You don't become bold and then speak. You speak until boldness shows up. You don't become disciplined and then change your habits. You change your habits until discipline becomes part of your character. Every time you act in alignment with the person you want to become, you cast a vote for that identity. And every time you hesitate, shrink, or retreat, you vote for the old one. The question is not who you want to be. The question is, who are you voting for today? You must interrupt the rehearsal. You must catch yourself in the moment when the old script starts playing. The moment you say, I can't. The moment you say, I'm not ready. The moment you say, what if I fail? That is your cue. Not to stop, but to choose differently, to speak anyway, to step forward anyway, to raise your standards anyway. This is how identities are rewritten, not in grand moments, but in small, consistent acts of defiance against the old story. Every time you move like the stronger version of yourself, you weaken the grip of the weaker one. And understand this, your environment will resist this change. People are comfortable with the version of you they understand. When you start rehearsing confidence, they may call it arrogance. When you start rehearsing boundaries, they may call it selfish. When you start rehearsing growth, they may call it unrealistic. Let them. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to stop betraying your potential to protect someone else's expectations. You are not here to remain recognizable. You are here to evolve. This is the work. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's repetition. It's choosing the higher response when the lower one feels easier. It's showing up as the person you said you wanted to be, even when no one is watching, even when it feels unnatural, even when your voice shakes, especially then. Because the moment it feels uncomfortable is the moment the rehearsal is working. That discomfort is not a warning sign, it's evidence of growth. You don't need to erase who you've been, you need to outgrow it. You don't need to hate the old version of yourself. You need to stop letting it lead. Thank it for getting you this far, and then take the wheel. From this moment forward, be intentional about what you practice. Practice courage. Practice self-respect. Practice speaking with certainty. Practice walking with purpose. Practice expecting more from yourself than you did yesterday. Because one day soon, you will wake up and realize the script has changed. The hesitation will be quieter. The confidence will be steadier. The fear will no longer be in charge. And people will say, "You've changed." And you will know the truth. You didn't change. You finally became who you were rehearsing all along. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for confidence. Stop waiting for someone to look at you and say, "Now you're ready." That moment is not coming. And if you keep waiting, life will pass you by while you're standing at the door asking for approval that was never required. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they never decide. They live their entire lives asking, "Who am I really?" instead of standing up and declaring, "This is who I choose to be." And that hesitation, that endless questioning, is the silent killer of greatness. Here is the truth most people don't want to hear. Clarity does not come before action. Clarity comes from action. You do not wake up one day suddenly knowing exactly who you are, what you want, and how it will all work out. That's a fantasy. Real confidence is built in motion. Real identity is forged in decisions made under uncertainty. The strongest people you admire didn't have more answers than you. They had more courage to move without them. They decided first, and then they let their actions shape their belief. While others waited to feel ready, they moved. And while others hesitated, they became. You have to understand the power of a decision. A real decision is not a preference. It's not a wish. It's not "I'll try." A decision cuts off alternatives. A decision says, "This is who I am now, and everything else must adjust." When you decide who you are, your behavior starts to align. Your standards rise. Your excuses lose power. Your energy shifts. You stop negotiating with fear because fear is no longer in charge. Most people don't lack discipline, they lack a identity. And without that, every challenge feels optional, every commitment feels flexible, and every setback becomes an excuse to retreat. Look at how most people live. They let circumstances define them. If life is good, they feel strong. If life gets hard, they shrink. If someone believes in them, they try. If someone doubts them, they stop. That is not identity, that is reaction. And a reactive life will always feel unstable because it depends on things you cannot control. When you decide who you are, you stop outsourcing your self-worth to outcomes and opinions. You don't rise and fall with every win or loss. You become anchored. You become consistent. You become dangerous in the best possible way. Deciding who you are means choosing your values before the pressure hits. It means deciding how you show up when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, and unpopular. Anyone can act confident when things are going well. Identity is revealed when things fall apart. When you're tired, when you're doubted, when no one is clapping. That's when the decision matters. That's when you ask yourself, who did I say I was? And then you act accordingly, not because it feels good, but because it's who you decided to be. That is how character is built. That is how self-trust is earned. And don't misunderstand this. Deciding who you are does not mean you will never feel fear or doubt again. It means fear no longer gets a vote. It means doubt can speak, but it does not decide. You can feel uncertain and still move forward. You can feel afraid and still stand tall. You can feel unqualified and still show up with excellence. The difference is this. You are no longer waiting for your emotions to give you permission. You are leading them. You are saying, I already decided who I am. Now follow me. This decision will cost you something. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you the verse. Ion of yourself that hid behind potential instead of producing results. It may cost you relationships that were built around the old you, the smaller you, the predictable you, the version that made others feel safe because you never threatened their limitations. Let them go if you must. Growth requires space. And you cannot become who you decided to be while carrying the weight of who you used to be. But the reward is unmatched. When you decide who you are, you wake up differently, you speak differently, you walk differently, you stop asking for validation and start operating from conviction. You don't need everyone to understand you, you need to understand yourself. And once that decision is made, life responds. Opportunities show up, strength shows up, discipline shows up, not because the path gets easier, but because you get stronger. So decide, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, decide that you are disciplined. Decide that you are resilient. Decide that you are the kind of person who finishes what they start, who stands firm under pressure, who refuses to live beneath their potential. Then live like it, messy if you must, imperfect if you must, but forward. Because the world does not reward hesitation, it responds to conviction. The moment you decide who you are, life has no choice but to meet you there. Let me tell you something you need to hear, not gently, not politely, but truthfully. Your past is loud. It knows your name, it knows your weaknesses. It knows exactly how to show up when you're about to do something bold and remind you of every mistake you've ever made. And if you're not careful, it will convince you that what happened back then has the authority to control what happens next. But listen to me closely. Your past does not get to run your life unless you keep handing it the keys. What happened was an experience, not a definition. And the moment you stop confusing the two, everything changes. Most people are not living in the present. They are reliving the same chapter over and over again, calling it memory when it's really a prison. They replay the failure, they replay the rejection, they replay the moment they didn't speak up, didn't try, didn't win. And every replay strengthens the belief that they are broken, behind, or unworthy. But the truth is this: you didn't lose because you were incapable. You lost because you were learning. You didn't fall because you were weak. You fell because growth requires resistance. No one becomes strong without weight. No one becomes wise without mistakes. No one becomes powerful without pain. You have to stop looking at your past as evidence of limitation and start seeing it as proof of survival. You're still here. After everything, after the disappointment, after the heartbreak, after the fear, after the moments you thought you wouldn't recover, you did. And that means something. It means you are more resilient than you give yourself credit for. But resilience only matters if you use it as fuel, not as an excuse to stay cautious. Strength that never moves forward becomes self-sabotage disguised as protection. Here's where people get stuck. They attach their identity to their worst moment. They say, I'm the one who failed. I'm the one who messed it up. I'm the one who didn't live up to expectations. But you are not a moment. You are a process. One chapter does not get to summarize the whole book. Imagine judging an entire story by its most painful page. You wouldn't do that to anyone else. So stop doing it to yourself. The past happened to you, not because of you. And even when you played a role in it, that does not make you permanently guilty. It makes you human. There is a difference between accountability and self-punishment. Accountability says, I learned, I grew, I adjust. Self-punishment says, I will never let myself forget. And that second one will keep you stuck longer than any failure ever could. You don't honor your growth by staying ashamed. You honor it by moving forward differently. You don't prove your worth by reliving your mistakes. You prove it by refusing to repeat them. Growth is not about erasing the past. It's about extracting the lesson and releasing the weight. And let's be honest, sometimes the past isn't just about what you did. Sometimes it's about what was done to you. The words that cut deep, the environment that limited you, the people who didn't protect you, didn't believe in you, didn't see you. None of that was your fault. But healing requires something difficult and powerful, the decision to stop letting pain make your choices. You are allowed to outgrow the damage. You are allowed to become more than what hurt you. And you do not owe your past a lifetime of loyalty just because it was painful. The future is waiting on a version of you that is no longer chained to yesterday. A version of you that can look back without flinching, without shame, without fear, and say, that was part of my becoming. When you release the past, you don't lose anything valuable. You gain freedom, you gain clarity, you gain the ability to move with strength instead of hesitation. The past can inform you, but it cannot command you unless you let it. So stop carrying what was meant to teach you. Stop punishing yourself for surviving. Stop delaying your greatness to pay a debt that has already been settled. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are right on time. If you choose to move forward now, your past shaped you, but it does not own you. The moment you let it go, your future finally gets a chance to breathe. The way you see yourself is not just a thought, it is a command. It is an instruction you give to your life every single day. Long before circumstances respond to you, your self-image already has. It decides what you attempt, what you tolerate, what you walk away from, and what you settle for. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of how you see yourself. And that's why two people can have the same opportunity, the same resources, the same moment, and only one steps into it fully. Not because they're smarter, not because they're luckier, but because one sees themselves as worthy of more and the other doesn't. Most limits in life are not external. They are internal ceilings disguised as realism. You call it being practical. You call it being cautious. You call it knowing your place. But what it really is an outdated self-image negotiating your future down to something it feels comfortable managing. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you will unconsciously create struggle, even when opportunity knocks. If you see yourself as someone who isn't good enough, you will reject chances before they can reject you, not intentionally, automatically. Because your mind is always working to keep your life consistent with how you see yourself. Consistency feels safe, even when it costs you growth. Pay attention to what you tolerate, the conversations you stay silent in, the relationships that drain you, the standards you lower just to avoid discomfort. Those are not accidents, they are reflections. A strong self-image produces boundaries. A weak one produces excuses. When you believe you are valuable, you don't negotiate your worth. You don't beg for respect. You don't explain your standards. You enforce them. And when you don't believe that yet, life will keep offering you situations that confirm your doubts until you change the belief at the root. Here's the uncomfortable truth: your habits are not the problem. Your self-image is. You don't skip discipline because you're lazy. You skip it because part of you doesn't believe the result is meant for you. You don't quit early because you lack willpower. You quit because your self-image whispers, "This isn't who we are." And until that voice changes, no strategy will save you. You can read every book, attend every seminar, follow every plan, but if you still see yourself as the same person, your actions will eventually pull you back to familiar ground. Identity always wins. Raising your self-image is not about arrogance, it's about alignment. It's about closing the gap between who you know you could be and who you allow yourself to be. It's about deciding that the way you've been seeing yourself is no longer accurate, and that decision will feel uncomfortable, because your old identity will fight to survive. It will remind you of failures. It will show you proof. It will say, "Who do you think you are?" And that's when the work begins. Not when you feel confident, but when you act in defiance of the old image anyway. Every time you show up prepared instead of hoping. Every time you speak clearly instead of shrinking. Every time you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you walk away from what no longer matches your standards, you raise the ceiling. And when the ceiling rises, your life follows. Slowly at first, then unmistakably. Opportunities start matching your energy. People respond differently. You respond differently. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped seeing yourself as someone who waits and started seeing yourself as someone who leads. This is not about pretending. It's about practice. You don't wait to see yourself as strong. You practice strength. You don't wait to see yourself as confident. You practice courage. And with repetition, the image updates, the mind adapts, the ceiling lifts. And one day you look back and realize the life you're living would have once felt impossible. Not because it was, but because you hadn't yet become the person who believed it was allowed. So raise the image, raise the standard, raise the expectation of who you are and how you move through the world. Because life will never ask more of you than you believe you deserve, and it will never give you more than you're willing to claim. Change the way you see yourself, and the ceiling disappears. What once felt out of reach becomes inevitable, because you finally match the life that was waiting for you. You are never meant to blend in, yet somewhere along the way you learned how to shrink. You learned how to soften your voice, lower your expectations, and make yourself more acceptable. Not because you wanted less, but because standing fully in your power felt risky. Playing small felt safer. It felt polite. It felt responsible. But let me be clear with you, there is nothing noble about denying your own potential. There is nothing humble about hiding your gifts. And there is nothing safe about living a life that never demands your best. Playing small does not protect you. It slowly erases you. Most people don't realize they are playing small because it doesn't look dramatic, it looks reasonable. It looks like waiting a little longer. It looks like not applying, not speaking up, not charging what you're worth, not asking for more. It looks like saying, "I'm just being realistic." But realism, when rooted in fear, becomes a cage. And the longer you live inside that cage, the more normal it feels. You start to confuse comfort with peace, avoidance with wisdom, and settling with stability. But deep down, something in you knows. You feel it when you're alone. You feel it when you see others doing what you secretly want to do. That quiet frustration is not jealousy, it's a signal. A reminder that you are meant for more. Playing small often begins as a coping strategy. At some point, standing out cost you something. Criticism, rejection, embarrassment. Maybe you were told you were too much, too loud, too ambitious, too different, and so you adapted, you learned how to fit, you learned how to survive. But survival is not the same as living. And the version of you that learned to hide did its job. It kept you safe back then. But it is not meant to lead you now. Growth requires a new standard, and that standard will always threaten the old comfort zone. Here's the truth most people avoid. When you play small, you are not just limiting yourself. You are teaching the world how to treat you. You are silently agreeing to less respect, less opportunity, less impact. Not because others are cruel, but because people respond to the energy you bring. When you hesitate, they hesitate. When you undervalue yourself, they follow your lead. When you don't take yourself seriously, neither does life. This is not punishment, it's alignment. The world mirrors the standard you set for yourself. Stepping into your full size will make some people uncomfortable. That is unavoidable. When you stop apologizing for your ambition, when you stop minimizing your goals, when you stop explaining why you want more. Some will feel threatened. Some will misunderstand you. Some will distance themselves. Let them. Their reaction is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you've outgrown the version of yourself they were comfortable with. You cannot become powerful and remain convenient. You must choose. Becoming allergic to playing small means you stop negotiating with fear. It means you notice the moment you're about to shrink, and you do the opposite. You speak when your voice wants to hide. You move when hesitation tries to slow you down. You choose growth even when it exposes you. Especially then. This is not about ego. This is about integrity. About living in alignment with the potential you were given. Every time you betray that potential, something inside you weakens, and every time you honor it, something inside you comes alive. There is a version of you that already knows how powerful you can be. That version is not waiting for permission, it's waiting for courage. The courage to stop dimming your light. The courage to take up space. The courage to live as if your life matters. Because it does. You don't need to be louder than everyone else. You just need to stop being quieter than you are meant to be. The world doesn't need a smaller you. It needs the real one. The moment you refuse to play small, life expands to meet you. And once you taste that expansion, you will never again be able to settle for a life that asks you to disappear. The future version of you is not waiting somewhere down the road for the perfect moment to arrive. That version is built or abandoned by what you do right now. Not tomorrow, not when conditions improve. Now. Most people live their lives rehearsing who they plan to become, but acting like who they used to be. They say they want discipline, confidence, respect, impact, but their daily behavior still belongs to an old identity. And life responds to behavior, not intention. If you want to become someone greater, you must start moving like them before it feels natural. Especially before it feels natural. Acting like the person you're becoming means you stop letting circumstances dictate your standards. You don't wait for motivation to show up. You show up until motivation has no choice but to follow. You don't wait until you're confident to speak. You speak until confidence is forged in your voice. You don't wait until you feel worthy to demand more. You demand more until worthiness becomes undeniable. This is how transformation works. The body moves first, the mind catches up later. And anyone who tells you otherwise is selling comfort, not truth. Right now, your habits are voting for someone. Every choice you make is casting a ballot for the person you are becoming. The way you wake up, the way you handle pressure, the way you talk to yourself when no one is listening. Those small, invisible moments are shaping your future faster than any big dream ever could. You don't rise suddenly one day and become disciplined. You practice discipline until one day you realize it's who you are. Identity is not a switch, it's a pattern. And patterns are built through repetition, not promises. Acting like the person you're becoming also means you take responsibility before you feel ready. Leaders don't wait to feel prepared. Professionals don't wait to feel inspired. They move with intention because they decided who they are. When you decide, excuses lose their power. You stop saying, "This is hard," and start saying, "This is required." You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What is the cost if I don't try?" That shift alone separates those who talk about change from those who embody it. This path will test you. There will be days when acting like the person you're becoming feels fake, forced, exhausting. Days when the old habits call your name. Days when no one notices your effort. Those are the days that matter most. Because consistency when no one is watching is what builds self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of confidence. You don't need external validation when you know you are honoring your word to yourself. That quiet integrity becomes unshakable strength. Eventually something powerful happens. The effort feels lighter. The discipline feels normal. The confidence feels steady. Not because life got easier, but because you became stronger. People will say you're lucky. They'll say you changed overnight. They won't see the daily choices, the uncomfortable actions, the moments you acted like the future version of yourself long before anyone believed in it. But you'll know. And that knowledge becomes fuel. Because once you prove to yourself that you can become who you decide to be, there is no limit to what you can build. So stop waiting to arrive before you act. Arrival is the result, not the requirement. Move today like your future depends on it, because it does. Speak with intention. Show up with discipline. Hold yourself to the standard of the person you are becoming, not the one you've outgrown. Act like the person why, or becoming now. And one day soon you'll realize you didn't chase the future. You created it